Got it. Hello, everybody. We're gonna wait a little bit for the other participants. Hey, Mary, good seeing you. Hi, Tanaka. Hi.
Hello.
I think some of the rest will maybe join a little bit later. Just a quick checkup. Precious, are you there?
Hi, Rudolph. Yeah, I'm here. Hi, everyone.
That I'm a little bit was a little bit late, but it's I'm still in bed, so that's things go a little bit slower here. My hair looks weird. Okay. Yesterday we had a quick overview of the course. We discussed the reasons why we are doing this course, right? Besides, we also explored in an assignment, if all went well, kind of our own thoughts about what your personal values could be within the context of a metaverse. Is that correct? Did you guys and girls have time to, did you all have time to explore that?
Sorry, I didn't get the last part.
Yes, I did.
Hey? Sorry?
I didn't get the last part that you asked.
Yeah, so basically the homework was to look at the website, the Africa Vernacular, and to explore a little bit some of the imagery, the architectures, and the use of architectures and the values that go with that. Did you guys, did you all were able to do that? Is it, or was it something you still want to work on? Tanaka, yeah?
Yeah, I did manage to go through the websites that you said.
Okay, did you write anything down or maybe select a few images or?
Not anything down, but definitely have a wider context of the different architecture that is from my culture. So
can you maybe explain a little bit about what you saw and or can you maybe take us to the website and show us a little bit what the things that you found interesting? Then we'll go to Mary and then we'll go also to Precious, okay?
So should I share my screen?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. It says host disabled screen share. So I think you need to admit this.
Oh, okay, wait. They have the same problem. Wait. Oh yeah, you can share now. Okay, cool. So what am I looking at?
Can you see my screen?
Yes, for sure.
I'm just trying to navigate this. So there are different, I definitely do relate with all the images that are there. I've seen them. I have lived in some of them, particularly this one, the blue one.
Yeah.
It sort of like gives you a sense of home, a sense of like belonging and identity.
Can you explain me a little bit about, because I'm from the Netherlands, I have no idea how it is. Can we open that image? Can you tell me a little bit how that was living there and what the functionality is of the openings, for instance?
Okay, so this one right here is a kitchen. And
Okay.
probably these two are like bedrooms. maybe one for the girls and one for the boys. It's usually set up in that way. So because primarily we use firewood to cook, that's why there's a lot of ventilation on the sides. And also like the thatch, it's sort of like blocks the smoke. So we have this sort of like a fire pit in the middle. Obviously you can't see, but yeah, so the smoke that comes out is accumulated in the thatch and usually changed over the years and stuff like that. That's why it's stuffed in like, I don't know, it increases, like the stacks are increasing as you go up. So it's kind of like bulky at the top to kind of like trap that. And then you change it over the time. And that's why it's different from maybe this one that's just like straight up, there's no fire in there and stuff like that. And the paintings is really like your choice, really whatever you would want.
Do you think
And then
the colors have a sort of give you a sense of happiness, or they make a big contrast also with the nature around it, huh?
yeah, it's interesting. I'm not sure, or have I researched that is color something that is very significant, because from where I come from, the colors are very different. I think we used like a cream color, but the black one at the bottom is pretty much a standard, because I've seen it a couple of times, but I think it really depends on your choice, I guess.
And how long have you been living there, can I ask?
I never lived there per se. So these are mostly like rural areas, and then we lived in a maybe suburb area, but you'd go visit maybe 3 months, for 3 months, or a month during holidays, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. And so did you feel that this is a sort of a comfortable environment, like it feels like home also?
Yeah, definitely it does, because sort of like the way one thing I forgot to mention was that the the um, the huts are made of sometimes cob or po and daga.
Mm-hmm.
And the properties of these materials, now that I've learned, is that they literally trap heat, so that in the evening, and then like the heat is then transferred into the whole room and it keeps you warm. And in the afternoon, it blocks the heat. So it's a very comfortable place to live in. Like you don't need to necessarily think of air conditioning and stuff like that. It's already incorporated in the structure. Yeah, it definitely gives a sense of home, and also the surroundings of it, the fresh air, the clean air. It's really great. And also the surroundings. So you can see these trees, mostly like the arch fruit trees, like surrounding the property sometimes, and you regularly have food to eat, share with cousins, stuff like that. So it definitely gives a sense of home and belongingness.
I think it's fascinating. What I want to do now, and everybody here on the call at this moment, I think it's very important to understand that we're sharing in this process our own research, our own findings with each other. That doesn't only create a sort of a sense of how another person approaches the research or what kind of observations he or she makes, right? But it's also a way for us to create sort of engaging with each other and getting used to that, right? Because maybe later in the process we want to work in teams. Okay, I want to stick with 1 or 2 questions. Okay, Tanaka, how do these things what are kind of very important aspects, architectural aspects or social aspects that you just expressed that are quite impactful on the way the people interact with each other? There's one thing that you already mentioned, but there are probably more things.
I think the most important, I think I mentioned the materials used, but also the process in which these houses are built. It's sort of like you don't need necessarily to have an experience. It's something that can be built by a whole family or maybe the whole lineage, people who live close to you and stuff like that.
But listen, you said something else. You said there's a women and a man sleeping area. So basically you create an architecture, right? You create an environment, right? Where this is a place where you can have these kind of users. Let's call them users. Let's not call them citizens anymore, right? Now this is an area where only women user can be. And this is a user area for only men, right? Designated user area for only men. These are two, and this is a common area. The kitchen is a common area, and it's open, right?
Yeah.
So I want us to also think about like what these kind of functionalities would be in a metaverse, right? I don't think that we should apply that kind of strategies to users in a metaverse, right? But there is a way that we can do that in a metaverse very directly. We can segregate, right? We can also, what you said is interesting, create with a community. So why would buildings be something that we can only create? Why wouldn't that be something that everybody can add to, right? Create a common place. So interesting ideas. I'll come back to that, okay? Precious, are you there?
Can I stop sharing now?
Yes, sure, yeah. Precious, are you with us?
Hi, Rudolph. Yeah, I'm here with you.
Hey guys. Hey Precious, can you turn on your camera or is that complicated?
I think it's coming on right now.
I want everybody to just put on the cameras because it makes me feel really isolated in my box. Precious, did you have any opportunity to look at the assignment?
Yeah, I did. I checked out what we already have the link you realize that most of the images here are from the northern parts of Nigeria.
Mm-hmm. Can you
Uh,
share screen with us and
yes.
tell us a little bit what you found?
Okay. So you disabled attendee screen sharing.
Yeah, this is green buttons. It's share screen.
I'm unable to share my screen.
So what do you say?
So it keeps saying disabled.
Oh,
It keeps saying that the host is disabled.
well,
Yeah.
I think we can see if we can make sure that. Let me ask Aya. Can Precious be enabled to share screen? I'm just see if we can access you soon. But what do you think about the assignment, Precious?
Yeah, like I mentioned, it some images I saw there. But I got to like read more about design, cultural design heritage, right? And I got to know more about cultural heritage as it relates to different cultures. But then the focus was based on my own culture, right?
Okay.
So okay, let me know if you can see my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most of the pictures I saw here are actually from the northern part of Nigeria. right? And of course, these are from rural areas
Mm-hmm.
that I really don't know so much about, you know, the the reason behind their architectures and all of that. But I also got to save some pictures on my phone, based on my own tribe and my cultural heritage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually going to include all of it in the assignment, and I'll submit it in the Google Drive file before today ends.
What are the
So
kind of characteristics socially that these kind of buildings, uh, facilitate? What kind of activities do they facilitate, these buildings, if I can ask? Can you explain it a little bit, or?
what kind of activities do they facilitate?
Yeah. What are the things that you do, for instance, in specific buildings, or are these all homes, or how are they organized?
Okay, like this one, this is like a kitchen, right? Though it's common in the northern part of Nigeria, but yeah, this is like a kitchen where people can actually make meals and all of that. Then I think I saw something else that I can easily relate to. Okay, it's not this one. These are basic houses that people. These are places that people stay in, in rural areas, in some parts of Nigeria, basically. Like this, the way this place is actually built, it's also for, you know, cohabitation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's mainly people of same tribe. It could be this could actually be this could pass for the hut of a traditional ruler or a chief or something, but
Mm-hmm.
he has his own hut and stuff, and the other hut might be for his wives and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then this little building here in the middle would signify like a sit out point where where people gather. Though I didn't really get the context here in this house, but there's a context that, and there's a picture, there are other pictures that can give a better insight into what I'm trying to say right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Yes, exactly.
I also
But
see
yeah,
that
this is
it is very close to nature also. It's almost the palm trees are in the area where people also live, for instance. So there's a very
yeah,
strong connection with the outdoors, I see, right?
yeah, yeah, it is. These basically these are just rural areas that people
Mm-hmm.
can easily relate to, right? Of course, northerners are mostly farmers and all of that. Even though we here in the east we are actually farmers, but not as I don't know how to put it, but maybe when I share my document, I'll share pictures and probably give more insights.
Yeah.
I think I also saw something that yet another yet another image. So this place looks like this could actually pass for someone's house, and right here outside here where they make meals and all of that. Do you
Yeah.
understand?
So there is this open area, right, which is
Yeah,
communal, and then the places where people are homes are very isolated from each other. There's like this is the area which is my area, and then there's another area that is his area, and this is the area for one wife or for other wife. It's really secluded. They're not against each other, right? The buildings are not like really against each other. So I think when you translate this to, let's say, a digital environment, you know, what is kind of interesting, in my opinion, is how would you think about these kind of materiality? Eh? So we're thinking about materials now. And the roof is made out of reed, or grass, how would that have a function, you think, in a metaverse? Would that be functional?
Well, it should. I don't think there are any limitations in the metaverse, but I wouldn't know so well. But of course, these are made of um, bamboo trees, right? These are made of, yeah, basically palm fronds, I think so, that have actually dried out and something, if I am not mistaken, like that in the metaverse, but it's
You just see
probably
what we're going to do, but I really want you all of you, to really think about, hey, what is this kind of material? Why are these kind of colors? You know, what is relevant? In the metaverse, we can make everything, right? But how can we, if we can make everything, let's define why we would make anything, you know? So I can make a house out of anything. That is also kind of problematic. But what kind of things can I use? So I also like to see the in the middle, this kind of the bamboo is kind of woven, right? These kind of
yeah,
patterns. And this is very interesting because you can use these kind of patterns also in your design when making an environment, right? It has
okay.
function. You can use maybe add function to that, but we're going to come up to that later. Thank you so much, Precious. Mary, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah, we didn't see each other yesterday, I guess, eh?
I was on and off yesterday, but today I'm available.
So thank you so much for joining us. Um,
Thank you.
for all of you, so the first part of every design class, we'll just discuss the assignment that was given. I
Mm,
think that's pretty clear, right? And I want you
yes.
all to be kind of listening to each other and understanding that this is all part of a bigger process, right? You learn from each other's perspectives, and then you come and take notes, and then you take that into your own process, okay? So Mary, where do you come from originally?
I come from Uganda, particularly the central Uganda.
Okay, did you see the website? The,
Yes, I did.
can you share your screen maybe and
Okay.
tell us a little bit what you found?
I'm disabled from sharing.
Oh, I have to ask Aya. Okay, oh, I
Okay.
see also, can Mary be enable to share screen? Okay, you're asking questions, right?
Yes,
I wonder if such structures will be possible in Metaverse if they're not really appreciated by many in reality. I think this is the thing where we have to really take into account. Whatever we create has significant value because it comes from our own creativity, first and foremost. We should
yes.
not accept the norm, which is basically the stereotypical ideas of how metaverses should look. Yeah?
Okay.
I want to show you one
Mm,
image a little bit later after this session. I'm going to have you consider what people think about metaverses and how metaverses should be. It's a very generic style. And I think that metaverses are basically orientated from one brand of imagery, right? It's one, I'll show
yeah.
you the context later. But this is a particular product from sort of a science fiction concept, broader concept. There is very little input from non-Western countries. So how many
Yeah.
uh, Indian influences do you see in metaverse designs? How many South African influences do you see in metaverse design? How many African influences do you see in metaverse designs? So if we want to have metaverses to become global, yeah, and equal, then there should also be some kind of equal
Presentation.
injection of cultural heritage. Because the thing that I want to share with you, and I'm gonna tell this every lesson. You are building also for a group of people that a community that is growing. Your own communities are becoming more and more aware of their role in the world and their presence online. And so it's very difficult for for a Western person to come in and tell you exactly how you should live in their metaverses. You can create it for your own community, and by that effect, you can grow a substantial amount of followers. And by that, you can create a business, right? That is catered purely to the people that you know. But then you have to create, I think, in my opinion, also the culture around it, the images, the assets, the three-dimensional environment that is comfortable with the people that you're building it for, right? I don't know how to create a metaverse for people in non-Western countries. It's very difficult for me. You see? So let's just go and see what you come up with. For I think you can share your screen now, Mary.
Yes. So I think you can do it now. Can you? Are you able to?
Yeah, this is Uganda, right? Yes. Excellent.
Yes, this is Uganda. And even before I go forward, I've noticed a similarity in the materials and a bit of the structure from my country and the different countries. Um, Maybe a few of the social aspects that I would like to point out are, let me get to the image. This particular image, this veranda, it played a very important role in the communities because this is where the family unit actually got to interact with the community, the bypasser, yes? Because the greeting, hello, how are you? So I think that is one of the few things I do recall. I wasn't able to experience this kind of architecture. However, from the storytelling and from my grandmother, I know the different bits and their importance to the community. So that is one of the few things I noticed. Then another thing is the lighting. A minute.
Take your time. Take your time. We have two
Yes.
hours for this session, so.
Okay. So I'm looking at these openings, and I think one of the major reasons they were small was to create an idea of intimacy within the spaces, as well as create a sense of privacy in the spaces. So it is for security purposes also, yeah, and also of course ventilation and all that. But I appreciate intimacy of the spaces provided for by the lighting.
But
Then
they are very, so if I'm correct, the inside of the
yes,
area is quite dark, but the triangle gives light, right?
yes, it does. Yes, and then during the construction process, of course, they allowed for there was inclusion from the different people of the community, children, women, and of course, in most cases, the women were in charge of the plastering works. Yeah, sometimes they would use clay, they would use cow dung. Yeah, and yes.
Yeah.
And the men were in charge of the structure.
Yeah.
I think from that, I appreciate the inclusion, especially for women, something we don't see in the construction industry lately.
I think that is amazing. That's actually also, it would be kind of, for me, again, when we come to the assignment, I would really love you guys to design something for the metaverse we are building with Afoma land for the artisans and artists of marginalized countries. And it would be great if the designs come from women, of course, you know, because it's exactly like you said, in the Western world also, most of construction is done by men, right, traditionally. But in the metaverse, that doesn't have to be. Not even, or also in the real world, obviously, it should be open to everybody. But I think that there's an enormous opportunity for women to enter this metaverse space. So I'm really happy also that this course yours with, you know, we're so diverse. And that's also a very important thing. Can you tell me a little bit about these enclosures in the middle? Up, you see this kind of attached roof, and then it's on the poles. Is that still under construction? That middle one?
Okay. This looks like an outdoor kitchen, and that's it. Its construction was complete.
Oh yeah. Okay, so this all kind of resembles also what you see in other nations, is that the kitchen is a very open area accessible to a lot of people. So this kind of constitutes that open areas accessible to a lot of people, you know, are very similar in different cultures. I thank you so much, Mary. We're going to go to Gifat. Are you there? Mr. Gifat, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm very good. What do you think about the assignment that I gave yesterday?
For me, when I was going through it, I realized that most of the buildings over there aren't what's existing at the moment. Even most of the rural areas, okay, maybe some parts of the rural areas in the northern parts of Ghana, but majority of architecture in Ghana at the moment isn't really that. What's the modern architecture in Ghana is the principles behind them. So I might have to share my screen as well too.
Yeah, I think if you can't, I'll ask you to become co-host. Yeah, in fact, you can share your screen now.
Okay.
And please
So
make sure that you talk a little bit louder so that we can all hear you.
Okay, all right. Okay. So I'm connected with my laptop so I can share my screen. I'm using my phone at the moment. So
sure, man. Take your time.
Yeah.
I think you should turn off the microphone of one of your links.
Yeah. Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. the first question, what are culturally significant features? After going through the images on the site, the link is sent to us, I noticed that there was most of the things that repeated itself, but there were some key features and elements that I took. The first was the compound house. That's something that is still existing in Ghana at the moment. Ghanaians tend to like the idea of privacy, but then it's the idea of the compound house comes to places where there's a kind of extended family system. So the compound house is actually still serving the privacy, but the members in there are all, extended family members. They just enjoy their privacy, but then it still has the extended family around. If you look at the first image at the corner over here, you can see that there are even these short walls around it. So even though it's a compound house, they're still trying to hold that sense of privacy in the compound house system. The first thing, it's still something that is done at the moment. You come around and you see that everyone has these compound houses where it's walled on all four corners because they want to experience that privacy. In the spaces in the houses as well, you notice that kitchens are mostly closed, but all the spaces are closed. As much as for you, spaces where the dining area is closed because of this idea of privacy. The pavilions and walkways are mostly covered because it's generally really hot in Ghana. But even though people like privacy at home, when they go out, they actually like to stay out and converse with people. So these covered walkways and pavilions help to do that. So we are able to meet other people and talk over there. So the third image is with the rooftop speaking area. Is something I didn't really know before, but from research I found out that in the past, due to war and many wildlife, and these two elements, these two things in particular, people have their living areas on the ground floor and then they sleep on the roof. So that way, the only access to the roof is by the certain particular type of ladder that they create, and it protects them from wildlife one, and when enemies are trying to come over, they find it difficult to access it over there, kind of protecting them in a way. Aside that, they end up getting these cool breezes at night because they are open to the night.
You're falling away a little bit, Gifat.
The next is the decorations they put on walls and leave they put on walls as well. Sorry?
No, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Okay. So the next one are the decorations they have on walls and kind of division and identity. So you go to an area, you see that this person on a particular building, it symbolize that okay, that is someone very important in this field, like the family head or a chief, or these people are very wealthy, and hence they're trying to show off their wealth. And that's where these elements are mostly used. Another thing I noticed were these round houses, and over here is written with small dots for defense and traditional baths. From what I researched and found out, another reason they use these round houses because of heat. So the areas which is mostly used are in the northern part of Ghana, and what it does is that with the round walls, the heat is evenly distributed around the building. So it kind of, in a way, helps to cool the inside space or help to control the amount of heat entering the space. So it's not just one wall receiving so much heat. Because of the round nature of it, the heat is distributed along the faces, which helps to, in a way, reduce the amount of heat that comes to the space. In villages too, they use sheets to differentiate between spaces. So some spaces have the triangular spaces probably used for the sleeping area, and then the round walls will be used for the kitchens and whatnot. Because places that have the most heat are kitchen. Another reason why I noticed why Ghanaians like closed kitchens is because of the mess there and the pungent smell from foods that are prepared in the kitchen. So these reasons are why Ghanaians prefer these closed kitchens. Another form construction that was used was is the mud and the touch roof system. This, I mean, mud in itself with a touch roof system, one helps to prevent water from getting into the houses because of the way the touch roof is, and two, aids the cooling as well. You'll notice that most of the buildings have these pitch roof, shaped or cable roofing systems, and this also to help mitigate heating as well. So what it does is that because it's pitched or lifted or gabled or capped roof, the heat when the sun rays hit the roofing material, whatever it may be, it helps to, in a way, um, how do I put it? It just prevents the amount of, it just prevents direct heat into the building. If it was a flat roof system, the sun hits the slab and then the heat goes directly into it. But because of the heat out, the heat stays in that void space over there, and with windows and ventilation, it's able to cool the space up naturally. It also helps with the rain as well, preventing water from getting in and just falling off. They have these patterns that are used on their fences as well, and from research, I found out that the main reason why the patterns look the way they do is based on this is like what they've learned in the past. So my mom gave that to me, she taught me this method. That's what I'm using this method. But if you look at it from a broader perspective, you notice that it also serves as a form of identity. People from different tribes have different patterns they use on their, and I don't think it was a conscious thing, it was just what they learned and what they used, but I ended up doing that way. Windows generally are smaller to reduce the amount of heat getting into the space and still allow light and ventilation in there. And in some cases, there are no windows at all because the mud walls, the mud bricks generally are cool, help with cooling the spaces up. So there's no need for any windows. You just go there at night, sleep, and then come back in the morning. So the second question was, how do these features play a role in the society where I come from? So the courtyard or the compound houses, that's why I spoke about the privacy that I like so much. The covered walkways are will aid in public connections. The rooftop sleeping area is the one I found really interesting because I never really knew that. And I think it's something that can actually be in the metaverse as well because I mean having that open roof space and in the metaverse you don't really have issues with rain coming up in the night or whatever, you're just in the roof. The decorated walls is something that can also be used. There are so many symbols and emblems and totems in Ghana that people use to decorate their houses and whatnot. Yeah, so the round holes with the small doors for defense is also something that is used, but mainly in the northern region of Ghana, northern areas of Ghana. Yeah, so the shapes of the buildings as well. I haven't really seen that in the modern architecture in terms of people using circular and rectangular spaces to differentiate between the functions of spaces, but it's something that seems interesting and could be within the metaverse as well. So in construction, they use the mud brick, thatch roof, water and job construction. So it is so that you're aware that that's mainly bamboo and mud. We have the brick and mud system. So that they're differentiating the work. Just a functional difference between the two is more about availability and urgency. The mud bricks and the thatch roof is faster to be done and it's more available. Bamboo is more like a luxury stuff. That's them. So people who use the bamboo and the mud are mainly seen as rich. So it's mainly used for spaces like for the royalty in the community, the king, the way they live and whatnot. Yes, so the fence wall with their patterns as well, something that I noticed. And yeah, I think that's it for the question. I mentioned most of them in the first question. And the third one is values from my traditional background I would like to see presented in the metaverse. So with this, I didn't really focus on how the buildings were looking and whatnot because I believe that in the metaverse, the main reasons why the buildings are the way they are due to environmental issues. The sun rays, the rain, heating, and whatnot. So, and in the metaverse, those issues are in there. So I was like, if that's the case, then we need to look at the other elements that can be implemented and limited aside the materials and the looks of it. And over there, this one was the private nature of Ghanaians, the family structure. So these are actually oriented or arranged according to family structure. Hierarchy, so kings and whatnot have the larger space and bigger spaces to sleep in and whatnot. And there's a Ghanaian etiquette that's really intensive area because there's so many things that are known to be proud upon or accepted in that sense. Then we have health and wellness. So with that as well too, I believe it has to do with the areas of cooking and whatnot, how clean the spaces are, clean clothes, not allowing the air to come in, or the wind to blow just into the food. And then the clothing, how they dress. So that area comes with their patterns and whatnot, because you see most of those patterns appearing in our clothes and whatnot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gifat. 1 second. Okay, thank you so much. You did so good work, Gifat. It's very concise, and I think it's very good to see all your effort you put in it, and it will benefit. You know, in it in the process of development, we will see that these things, how you structure it, will come back and will benefit you in the design process. Thank you so much. I always see Annie, but I think it's Cecilia, right? I will just. Are
Yeah,
you there?
yes. Yeah, I'm here.
It's Cecilia, right? Isn't it?
Hello. Yeah, please. It's Cecilia.
Yeah, because your name says Annie, and sometimes in the beginning it's difficult for me to remember names. But it's Cecilia, right? How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
And what do you think about the presentation that Gifat did just now? Cecilia. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I was late. Yeah, I was late to join because I have internet connection. I have
Oh.
internet problem anyway. Yeah,
Okay.
so I just the place I met him explaining was the last page. That was the values he will want to see represented in Metaverse.
Yes.
Yes,
that's
so
the most important thing, I think, what we're going to take away from this first assignment. You know, a lot of things that Gifat shown, and I want to tell you everybody, is obviously there are a lot of things that are very relatable to his cultural heritage, but there's also a lot of things that are working very much in relation to the physical world, right? So for instance, the park covered walkway, it's there because there's a sun and you need to be in the shadow, right? Or you sleep on the roof because it's cold, colder than in the house, right? Or you have certain barriers because you want to defend yourself. Now, these are very important things in the real world, and some of these things can also resonate in the metaverse. So we're going to take that into account, that obviously there's no sun and there's no heat, but there are other things that we find important in the metaverse. For instance, do we have privacy? That's a good one. You know, do you want to be with another person in the metaverse, or do you have to have certain areas where you can look over the overall view? But can you do that in different ways? Well, we're going to find that out. Cecilia, do you want to share something with us, or do you think your internet connection is a little bit too bad for that?
I would love to share, but then the connection is really bad. I can't even open the file.
Don't worry about it. You know
I
what
am
we're going
trying
to
to, but
do? We're going to do it as follows.
Yeah.
we're gonna upload like Givat did, take your notes and upload it in the Google Drive, so that you always can have access to these images and your research, right? And also I can look at it and see what you have been up to. Is that okay, Tanaka? You okay with that, Mary? Yeah? Okay.
Yes, I'm okay with that.
And it brings me to the second point. Yesterday we were supposed to kind of discuss the toolkit that we were supposed to be using. And the toolkit is kind of like the software that you can use to start your project, right? We didn't come to that because I thought it might explode your brains, and because it's so much information already. So we're going to do that today. What do Precious, what do you think I mean with a toolkit when you're starting a project? What kind of toolkits can you imagine?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know, I don't get your question. Do you mean, because I know someone asked yesterday what tools you'll be using.
What do you use
Is that what?
when you start a project? What kind of programs do you use?
Oh, okay. I don't know, but I mostly use Figma for my designs if I'm starting a project. But it's more like it's I use most like the research process is more like a pen, a paper, using FigJam, Miro for my whiteboard and all of that. Then I
Okay,
finally
so Miro is a good one. That's a good one. Let's start with that one. Did anybody of you use Miro before? No, Mary, you didn't. Cecilia, Givat, you ever worked with Miro? Hey, Alan, you back from church?
I'm not. I'm not.
Oh, are you supposed to go to church now, or
I'm supposed to go fully now.
are you going to go now?
Yeah, I think I'm about to leave. I will join later. I think 15 minutes from now.
Okay, so just go and go to church, and we'll catch up later. Okay. I hope we're still online. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm gonna thank you so much to give a little bit of an idea of how we're gonna get started. That's one thing, right? I'm gonna do that right now. Show you a little bit of tools that we're going to use throughout the process, okay? I'm gonna share my screen for that. And the second thing, so that's one. And the second thing is I'm going to tell you a little bit about the assignment and about the things that you can choose to develop, right? I just want to make clear everybody's completely free to develop an experimental virtual space for themselves. I just want to really make it clear. What I can propose to you is that we can also work in the context of a real world case, which is a Land, which might be sometimes practical. And it's also nice to showcase your work in that environment and to work with actual developers when we are going to create something for that, right? But first, toolkit. So I'm going to share my screen, right? And first of all, I think that one of the things that I usually work with when I start with projects is Word, right? So this is a project that I'm working on right now. I'm doing a presentation, and I like to just work, I like to just work in text, just to put things into focus for myself. You can also use Notepad, you know, which is here. And in Notepad, I kind of collect all these kind of weird notes that just not structured, but just, you know, how do you say it? Just meshed into one document. And then I kind of refine it in Word. So that gives me a little bit of structure. right? If I'm not easy to follow, please let me know. Then I go to Miro. And there, wait, sorry, I'm just gonna do it on Chrome because I'm already logged in on Chrome. Loading. Right. Can you still see my, you can still see my thing, right? And here is a project for Metaverse, right? That we're working on. And you see, it's just a collage of images and text. Can you see this all? Yes? So what I take from my Word document, I put in here, and I try to create boxes with topics. I try to work these out and structure them like this. And here are the images. And the images, I kind of describe what I like about the images. I like this, the glass dome, the diamond shape. I don't like the symmetry, icicles, the mycelium patterns. I use things that I cluster. So these are kind of like things that are related to avatar design, for instance, very abstracted faces, things and humans working in kind of flocks, hand gestures to communicate, buildings, you see. These are buildings that are made by algorithmic patterns, for instance. See these kind of environments. And this is more kind of spatial. So this is the first step into creating, let's say, a significant outline for my project, right? And this is what I want you to do for next week, based on the assignment, okay? So you saw that we did the research, Gifa did already a little bit of that, you know, all the things that you were thinking about, put it in text, and then work from that and put that online in your folder and work from that onto the Miro board. That's the first step, okay? Then from that point on, we're gonna work through the mood board, what you just saw, right? Onto a sketch. That will be the first design that you will make. But that's not gonna be until next week, okay? So again, I just want you to take, I want to take you back to the mood board, okay? Are you ready? So this is project what I was doing, I want to share with you. This was for a metaverse called Altered States, right? And when you use a mood board, you can either use it in two ways, okay? Either you already have an idea, really strong idea, and you use images to fortify that idea. So you have a strong idea, let's say a bakery, and you know exactly what you want in the bakery. And so you collect images that are complementary to that bakery, okay? That's one way you can use a mood board. But you can also use a mood board the other way around. You want to make a bakery, but you don't know how it should look. So you go more like intuitively, you go and search for images that might not have anything to do with a bakery, but that gives you the feeling what you have in your mind when you go to, you know, when you when you would like to open a bakery, what kind of feeling you would like. Is that clear, Mary? What do you think about that when I say that?
Yes, it's very clear. And you mean like the kind of experience, maybe the mood, the lighting that you'd want in a bakery, right?
Right.
Something like that.
So maybe you don't know anything about how you want your design for your virtual space to look like, right? Because you don't have an idea, you don't have a fixed idea, but you have a feeling inside that you want to have some colors, or you have an idea, and also rooted in the assignment we did from last week. You know, rooted from your, oh yeah, this is where I come from, this is what I find important. What I also try to I acknowledge that all of you are probably more from urban areas, right? And I'm not saying I probably your connection with the rural area is the same connection with the rural area, but I always go back to really the fundamentals of the things that I found in my experience, in my history, right? So historically, cultural history, I can show you that all these things, like these drawings, they come from old architecture from the 17th century, or these kind of images come from surrealism, right? And so I think these images really remind me of Indian temples. These, as you think, as like I can show you. You know, as Indian temples have a lot of structures, overflowing structures, right? Can you all see this? And then if you look at this, these kind of multitude of structures, right? Like for instance here, and you go to this kind of imagery, and you go to this, for instance, you know?
Sorry, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I can't see your screen.
Oh, you can't see my screen. Sorry.
I
I totally forgot to share my screen. You were just looking at my face. Now I just wanted to show you, like, if my heritage is from India, for instance, right? And if you look at these images, right, and you look at these kind of images, you see the layering of structures, right here. And you look at this, for instance, this kind of very layered on top of each other, and you look at this, you see? So what I'm saying is there's always this kind of, in the back of your mind, there's this kind of cultural references where you can tap into and draw from. Yes? That's why I think it's important to look at what kind of elements can I use, you know, cultural heritage elements can I use, and especially when it comes to creating something for yourself or for a former land, you know, we want to create something that is naturally from our own community, because that resonates well. Okay. So back to the assignment. Okay. I just want to show you a little bit about what we are working. If you want to choose to develop within the context of the Afoma Land project, I just want to show you a little bit of what we are thinking about, and what kind of and I'm going to put that also in the drive, but on what kind of architectures you can choose from. Because there are 3 architectures that you can choose. There's the project called Selitic, the project called Oruvan, and the project called there's a Huviar. Yeah. So I'm gonna walk you through it. Okay. The first one is Celtic, which will be a marketplace for artists and artisans from marginalized countries. So imagine people that are making small objects like baskets or like Etsy, for instance, right? And they can be in the metaverse and sell these projects online, right? So it's like an e-commerce marketplace. But how do you create something where a lot of these artisans can come together, you know, like a marketplace, for instance? Or what kind of place would allow other people to come and buy these things? It's something I'm going to show you in a second. So Celtic is one part of Afoma. Celtic. And I'm going to share my screen again. So I'm going to put this all in writing and share it in the assignment folder, but just to, you know, give you sort of a visuals for it. So this is Afoma, one of the partners. And in Celtic, you can see that there are people creating objects like pouches, and there are accessories, there are toys, right? And the goal is for them to not only sell their products on this website, where you can buy these with OMA tokens, right? If I'm going too fast, please. And you design a place, functionalities that you may not have in real life, right? Tanaka, what do you think? You want to experience, you want to touch some things, but then you would have to use 3D scans or whatever. What do you think about the space itself? Would it be like a marketplace? Would it be like something like what you would imagine what we saw with the vernacular culture, that these big open spaces with a big roof? How do people come together? I'm coming to you also, Mary, just 1 second.
I don't know, but I remember yesterday you mentioned that there aren't any restrictions, like it's just a free space and stuff
Right.
like that. So it could be that the products are maybe floating in the air. They can just like take a look at them or like touch them, feel them. Like it doesn't have to be necessarily designed in a specific way. They could be literally just there and you can place them back, but it doesn't have to be a physical thing that you see that you decide.
No, it's, I mean, obviously it's not physical because you can't really touch it, right? But Mary, what do you think about the environment itself? Like so you have the products. Is it like a marketplace? Would a marketplace we have in a traditional sense, would that work in a metaverse, right?
Okay, now the African marketplace doesn't feel safe most cases in terms of maybe your, like in terms of safety, your bag and all that. I'd expect the metaverse to be a safe space, both physically and, but then also I think it should be, let me say, a sneak peek into the experience, the end user experience. I should be able to have like a preview of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And like, okay, but before that, also, I think it comes down to display. How do you want the buyer to, you know?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
But
something.
you don't think that it's going to be a large space where a lot of people come together, or you think it's going to be there's not one central space for? How would you design something like that, right? Would it be one central space, or what? I'm not going to say that you should give me the solution.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you a video because I I'm asking you this question because I'm going to show you a video that we made, and just to give you a little bit of an idea of what we are not thinking about at all. But it just to ask the questions is good. We're asking questions because we're trying to see what are the problems and what are the solutions that we can come up with, right?
Okay, as an introvert, I think I wouldn't want it to be, it should be having the different spaces, the semi-private, semi-public zones. Like I should be able to feel, you know, like it shouldn't, okay, for someone who doesn't like, you know, all those social spaces, I'm looking at the way I would design it, it would be able to put into consideration the feelings and needs of the introverts. Yeah, and people with social anxiety.
A lot of people are introvert when they go, even if they're in a metaverse, they're still introvert.
I think it can't be ruled out completely.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Now keep that in mind. What I want to show you now is that every project that you go and enter when you create something for a client, right, starts with not only, you're not going to build something immediately for the client, right? And so, you know, the reason why I like to introduce the Afoma project is because I notice in all of my teachings that it's sometimes really helpful if you really want to learn something to just use a real world use case, because it becomes very tangible and I can show you every part of the process what I've been gone through, right? And you learn firsthand how you can build it yourself if you would have a client or if you would approach it like that, right? So first, and I'm gonna take you step by step through the process so you can mimic that yourself, right? Is that okay?
Yeah.
We're already working on the toolkit, so this is I think important. I'm not gonna put this online, so maybe make notes as we go and continue this. Okay? We still have 45 minutes, so I'm gonna show you 45 minutes kind of, and this is also in alignment with the toolkit. So we talked about words and we talked about the things like a Miro, like to create your mood boards, right? But what I want to talk to you right now is two things. First, how I organize my folders, because most of the projects exist on a computer, right? Precious, are you still there, by the way?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you hear me well? Can you all hear me good?
Although for a bit you were breaking, but it's clear now because I had to change my internet connection.
Okay. If I'm not audible, please let me know, okay?
All right.
Cecilia, can you still hear me?
To be honest, I can't really get what you are saying. Like I've missed a lot of parts that you have been explaining due to the internet connection.
Okay, so I will have to try to put this all on paper, okay? At the end of the
Okay.
day, I put it in the folder, okay?
Okay,
So
thank you.
everybody can join and participate. I'll put it in the assignment folder, okay?
All right, thank you.
But Gifat, you can hear me, yeah?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, cool. Okay. So basically, when you start a project, we make notes. We try to put it on paper. We try to put it in Miro, and then we go deeper in our research. I'm gonna share screen now, and what you get is that you can see my screen now. Huh? What you get is that I create this folder. This is for Afoma, and I have a very strict rule when it comes to folder. Everything has to be in a separate folder. Yes, images go in images folder, presentations go in the presentation folder, raw text go in here, and videos go in here. And I'm going to show you one of the videos that we made as a sort of a concept mock-up. Yeah, is that we just put together into an animation. Okay. At ideas, the way that we want to use projects that the assignment is included in this, because we had an image for Selitic or Rufan, and you have a space that you can create for Hoovia, okay? So I'm going to show the video, then I'll explain later, okay? Is that good? Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Oh, I should ask if I should, can I share screen? Can I share screen? Okay, cool. Sharing screen right now. Bada bing, bada boom. Right. Did you see that? So basically, the actual formula is going to look nothing like that per se. But it was something we developed to explore. And what I want to show you is that these are the kind of topics that we're going to, or you can choose to create, or you can create something for yourself. But I put it in the assignment. So one is that Selitic, it's this marketplace where you saw these kind of modules where people could use and touch and then buy something. The other was Orovan, which is a gallery space, right? So for people that make art, real art, like NFTs, right? And the other one is like an educational center where people can be educated and create culture. And the other one is for Hoovia, which is a company in India that wants to show audiences temples and ancient temples that they 3D scanned, right? So, Cecilia, you have a question?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So based on the video that you did share, it looks like you are translating what happens in reality to the metaverse, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Is that the goal, or are you
No.
also, so how then do people then experience a different kind of, how do people have a different experience in the metaverse then?
And that's what we're going to explore. But I want to show you this video also because in a sense that when you're communicating a project in the beginning to a client, right? Some of the things are very unclear for the client. You don't want to push them to that next level when it comes to metaverse design. We can't go from immediately to this very creative and maybe abstract world from 0 to 100, in one jump. We have to introduce to the client, because Afoma don't know anything about metaverses, right? They don't know anything. They just know about, they have a token, they have a crypto, they want to sell products for the users, right? But they have no idea how it's going to look like. And slowly but surely, we're introducing ideas that are kind of far-fetched. So that was the first step that we created. And I'll put the video also online. But this is just an idea that we gave the client just to make sure that they felt comfortable with a metaverse, you know? And from that point on, we said, well, maybe this is not something we should design. Like I should not be designing these buildings. I should have other people that are from the areas that our users come from have designed these buildings, right? So that's
So
also kind of the idea for this whole workshop was also kind of like, how do we empower people to be able to create metaverses, right? Is that clear?
yeah, I
So,
do. I get what you're saying also. So how do you then like measure um, what to give to a client? Maybe what they're comfortable with.
so that was the first product, okay? The first product was like, let's just make a video, just explore that ideas. And out of the video comes some good things. Also like these boards, these modules where you can tap and you buy products on, you know, these things are with actually we're designing that. That works kind of, you know. But the buildings themselves are very like generic, okay? So we have to think beyond that, and hopefully, or either you can design it, or eventually some other people will design it. But it goes more to say that it would be weird if I, coming with my Western background, would design something which would be used for people from Indian or African communities, right? So so that's one. And then the next thing I want to show you is what will eventually will be the next step also for you, is going to create a design book, okay? And in the design book, we have all these images that we collected from our mood board and all the text that we collected in Word, and we put it into one design book, okay? So this is the next thing I want to show you. I'm going to share my screen again. And in the design document, can you see it? We kind of devise a way to structure all the things that we're thinking about, like how do we think about metaverses? What do you need technological wise? And we're going to talk about these things later in the course. What are avatars? What kind of user interface frameworks do we want to use? What is spatial design? What is material culture, right? So talking about the marketplace, you know, this is what we traditionally think about marketplaces, right? But does that work in a metaverse? You know, these kind of forms. And when we talk about design, what kind of avatars do we want in this environment, right? Are they modern? Are they traditional? Can you see their ethnicity, for instance? What is the user interface that you're going to use when you're in that world? Is it going to be like when you have a menu, is it going to be like this or going to be like this? And what kind of materials do we use, right? So for a farmland, for instance, we are thinking about what is materiality? Stone, wood, soil for the ground, colors, right? Patterns. How does the nature look like, right? So in our project, we also will be designing a kind of a booklet, not a booklet, it must be for very limited, but that kind of incorporates all these ideas into one document. That will be the foundation for our next to the buildings that we will be designing. Is that clear to everybody? How's the energy levels, guys? Are you doing Mary? Still okay? These are long sessions, a little bit, aren't they? Or are they always so cool? Cool. Any questions so far? Precious, you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Who knows about this?
You will not survive it. Why?
Like this thing is way more than I am.
I don't know.
The man lost. I leave him over.
Okay. Anybody questions? Anybody questions? No. Okay. So just gonna check. Where are we now? Program design. Okay. Yeah, we're done for the day, right? What I'm gonna do now is this. Everybody, I'm gonna put the video online. You can choose to create your own project, whatever it takes. If you want to create a virtual library for your own metaverse, for instance, you can do that, right? Or if you want to create a beauty salon or fashion, a fashion shop, right? You can also design that. Everybody's free, but I'll put the say the use case projects that you can choose from also online in the assignment folder for next week. Next week, Saturday, there won't be any class because I will be traveling to Portugal. So I will be traveling all day. But Sunday will be design again. And then we're going to talk about, let me just check, because it's in the it's here. Yeah, so next week we'll be sketching and creating collages. But for now, the assignment is, again, to, Givat already did a little bit, but to make notes on your own research, on your own cultural heritage, right? Use it with images. Try to write a lot ideas that you have about what do you find important, especially the values that you want to see in a metaverse. I think Mary already talked about feeling that you also for introvert people there should be a place or whatever. But make sure that you write a lot and that you have a lot of things that you can use as anchors for your ideas. And then to create a mood board, right? So based on the assignment, if you choose to say, build a gallery for Oruvan, for instance, what kind of things are you thinking about? And put that in Miro, right? And we're gonna discuss that mood board next week. Okay? So it's not a lot. The homework is not a lot. You choose a topic, you choose a type of building or whatever you find important, right? You write about it, you try to take in your own kind of value system from what you discovered from your research on your own cultural heritage. What is important? What is interesting? You know, what kind of ways can we create a way that people understand it traditionally, for instance, right? Are we using structures? Are we using maybe these kind of roofs? Or are we using walls and areas that are secluded, right? Or are we traditionally using the marketplace that you know or I know, and are we copying that and trying to create that, right? For instance. And then you use images, you add images to that. So they can come from anywhere. Like I said, you can be like a magpie, you know, like a bird that steals all these kind of things from different parts. Yes? And you create a mood board with that. Is that clear to everybody? I'm going to put it in the assignment box, but just to make clear that there are no questions about this.
So I think I have a question, Rudolph.
Yeah.
Okay, which tool are we supposed to use? Is it MS Word or PowerPoint?
No, I don't think that the Word document is. You can do it in Notes. You can do it in Word. I don't want anything else. But then eventually that it comes into Miro. Yeah, that we just use Miro as a sort of a way to structure the mood boards, right? But I can imagine
Okay.
that you want to use Word because a Word or another Word document to also put your research on paper, okay?
Okay, that's fine. I'm hoping that you would, you know, put this assignment in text, like you type it in the group chat so that we can,
No,
revisit it.
I will put it on
Okay.
paper so that it becomes clear, okay?
Okay, that's fine. That would be
So
all.
no stress, it's gonna be online and I'll put the video in it so that it can be kind of like, you know, again, what we had in mind, yeah? Put as much as you can. But next, for next week, right? We really want to know what kind of type of building that you want to design. That we can work on that specifically. And just to give you a little bit of an idea, and then I'm gonna stop because it's gonna be, everybody's sleeping already. Then what we're going to do is that from that point on, we'll try to first draw and try to create something in 3D also. Yeah, just the first basics of how to create, which is a virtual space, which is like a sort of a testing builder for virtual spaces. Okay.
Okay, so I think I have another question.
Yes.
Okay, or it runs on the web, or
It
how
runs on the web.
exactly?
Yeah.
Oh, oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. And all the things that we're going to use are kind of low latency. So I try to use tools that everybody can access, that is free, and that is easy to use. Okay?
Okay, I do have a question as well. So when we are conducting the research, is it solely based on how I view things and how maybe I feel, or do we also have to consider maybe other
You're
people
always
that we are designing
considering
for?
what other people need, right? What other people need, but from your design ethics, right? From your design values. Right?
So how does that work? How does it look
Okay,
like?
well, if I'm designing, I have to refer to the things that I am acquainted with. Especially in Metaverse, if I'm building in a Metaverse, I can create a big glass building, or I can create a Roman kind type of palace. I can create anything. But what is intrinsically the fundamental basis from which I can design in a Metaverse? Like, what kind of things can I refer to? If not only myself first, you know what I mean? If you can create anything, then you can then there is no reason to do one or the other, right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you can create anything, it's very difficult to say, well, I want to do this or want to do that, because one is not better than the other, right? When it comes from your own mind, you at least have one kind of things to hold on to. That's the problem with metaverse design. Even walls, and this is what you're going to find out, and I'm going to be critical about this, but walls are not per se necessary in the metaverse, because there is no, there's no something you don't need defense in a metaverse environment. Walls are only there because people learn spaces through boundaries. An open space is very difficult for people to remember in their brains. So we create walls so that in the metaverse, so it's easier for people to remember where they are, right? We really think differently in metaverse design. Walls can be transparent, but if you push a button, they can be colors, or they can be patterns, right? Walls can be made out of information. It's a very complex system you can use to create a very inspiring environments. And we're going to push you to the limits. Like it's not enough just to create a roof and walls, We really have to think like, what happens if you can teleport from one place to the other? should we create like different modules, or is it one space? Do we have depth? Can you go down? Can you float? You know, is there an elevated place where you can buy the stuff and then below you can talk with people, right? I don't know. These are the things that we're going to develop. This is Metaverse design thinking one-on-one. This is what the whole course is about. Why do we do things? Where do the ideas come from? Eh? This is where you signed up for, to think laterally, okay?
No, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I'm gonna write down the assignment, right? You already have folders in the Google Drive? Yeah? Okay. So please, for next week, we have the mood board ready. And you know what kind of type of building you want to design, okay? Clear? Everybody okay?
Yes, that's clear.
Okay,
Yeah.
have a good week. And I'll see you next Sunday, okay?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hopefully I won't be in bed anymore because this sucks.
Hopefully.
I'm in a lot of pain the whole time. So. Okay. See you guys later, huh?
Okay.
All right.
Bye. Get well
Bye.
soon.
Bye, Bill. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.